In the sandbox, I am going to create some new activities, new development activities I am going to perform, or customizations I am going to do. Whatever the changes or new development activities I have performed, I want to deploy them to the production. So this is my core object. I want to create some new changes. I want to develop some new activities and I want to deploy them to the production. So how it is performed, let us see. Let me take an example. I'm getting some object here. I created a object tab. Now in the sandbox, I'm making some activities. First, let us make some changes here. New development activities, then we discuss about the deployment. Student name, phone. Currency. Then we have city. City. Right. Now I'm going to I created a couple of fields. Formula field I'm writing. Processing fee. Repeat. Check the syntax. Next. I wrote a formula field, object, tab, fields, page layout, then validation rule. Email. If email is blank, throw error message. Right. This is how we create it. Then what is the next one we had? Objects. Then create a trigger, developer console. Apex trigger I'm writing. On the object, this is a trigger. And I told list of student. Now if $50,000, else this is what I have created. Now, if you want to deploy anything from sandbox to the production, every Apex code should have test class with the code coverage of 75%. Otherwise, I will not be able to deploy it. So what I'm doing, I'm writing a test class for this. We have student dot name. Student dot city. Then name city, email cannot be blank. Inserted. If I inserted it, if trigger is running properly, then what will happen? Asset equals right. Suppose if I take one more record, I will test if case as well as else case. Then what is the value we are supposed to get? System dot asset equals S2 dot amount equal to 20,000. I am checking both the cases. If city equal to Hyderabad, this is the value. If city equal to Bangalore, this is the value. Run the test class. We got the code coverage. Right. So when you want to deploy any code, like say I created a classes like this. When you want to deploy, what we are supposed to do? We need to have code coverage of 75% to deploy it. Okay. Now whatever the things I want to make, I already developed. Create an object, fields, formulas, validation, trigger, test classes I have done. Now I want to deploy. When you want to deploy, there are two things we need to understand. Let us say this is production, this is sandbox. Production sandbox. Here we have deployment settings. Right. Now if you want the sandbox to send the changes from sandbox to production. Every sandbox cannot send their changes to production. Production will not accept the changes from every sandbox. Right. Let us say the sandbox name is DevPro. Let us say UAT. Let us say the sandbox is a UAT sandbox. If the sandbox is a UAT sandbox, if the sandbox is a UAT sandbox, if the sandbox is a UAT sandbox, what we are doing? If the sandbox is a UAT sandbox, if you want to deploy the changes from this sandbox to this sandbox, on the production, we need to go to the deployment settings, and there will be a list of sandboxes, UAT sandbox, set. Okay, some as per your company, no. Okay, dev, number of sandboxes are there. Then I have to go to the sandbox. Enable inbound changes. So if the production want to accept any changes from sandbox, now I need to go to that particular sandbox and we have to enable inbound changes. We have to enable inbound changes. Now I went to the sandbox in the production and I told allow inbound changes. So from the sandbox we are accepting inbound changes. So the sandbox can now deploy the code to production. So let us see this. Now go to this is the production environment. Go to deployment settings. Let us say I have sandbox for Firoz. Now from the Firoz sandbox I want to accept it. Then I click on edit. What was this? Allow inbound changes. Then what happened? Then whatever the sandbox I get to Firoz, he can upload these things to my production. Are you getting? So if you want to accept any changes from a particular sandbox to this sandbox, we need to go to the sandbox, go to the production, go to the deployment settings, go to the production, go to the deployment settings. There we are supposed to click on sandbox, enable, allow inbound changes. So production is accepting inbound changes from that particular sandbox. Production is accepting inbound changes from that particular sandbox. I hope you are good. Okay. Now let us go to the next. Then whatever the sandbox want to deploy, what the sandbox will do? It will create a outbound change set. Now, whatever this sandbox want to do, create a outbound change set. Once I create a outbound change set, whatever you want to deploy, create them. Maybe object. Whatever you want to create everything in the outbound change set. Now, upload these outbound changes. What we are doing? We are uploading the outbound change. Upload outbound change set. What we are doing from sandbox, we are uploading the changes to the production. In the production, they are received like an inbound change set. Whatever you sent, they are received like inbound change set. From sandbox, they are uploaded using outbound change set. From sandbox, they create outbound change set, uploaded to the production. From sandbox, they create outbound change set, they upload it to the production. In the production, we receive like an inbound change set. Once we receive like an inbound change set, that inbound change set we are going to validate. If everything is good, then I will deploy. So deploy is done in the production only. From sandbox, what we are doing? Uploading the outbound change set to production. Using a change set, we can only upload the changes from sandbox to the production. Once they reach the production, in the production we are going to validate. Once the validation is successful, I will deploy. Are you getting my point? From sandbox, we are going to upload outbound change set to production. In the production, I am going to validate. If everything is okay, I will deploy it. I hope you are good with this. From sandbox, I will create an outbound change set. I will upload to the production. In the production, I am going to validate and I will deploy. I hope you are good with this. People are good with this. Right. The same story I am going to create now. From sandbox, I want to upload. So what should I do? Create a change set. Setup. There is a sandbox. Setup, build, setup, deploy, outbound change set, new outbound change set. Now, we are giving a requirement. Yes, I'm giving some comments. I create a outbound change set. Then here we have change set component. Whatever you want to deploy, add them. Then custom object. (315) batch. View and add dependencies. All the elements should be added separately. Each and every field should be added separately. Processing fee, phone, email rule, email, everything should be added separately. Everything should be added separately. Test class. So whatever I need, I have added all the things. Add all the things. Then what is the option we have? Upload. From sandbox, we upload. Now what are the three? These are the three environments from where to which I can upload from this. Let all upload to QA test. Right. Now instead of QA test, if I select production, it will go to production. Okay. Now it is uploaded. It is uploaded to production. So what did I do? In the change set, outbound change set you are supposed to create. You are supposed to create outbound change set. Once you create outbound change set, then upload to production. Once you upload to production, it takes some time. We are going to receive it like a inbound change set. Once you upload to production, we are going to receive like a inbound change set. Once you upload to the production, we are going to receive like a inbound change set. Once you upload to the production, we are going to receive like a inbound change set. Let us wait for the file. It takes time. You have created a outbound change set, added the components, uploaded to the production. Right, let me finish. You can ask the query at the end. Now we have set up. So what we have here? Deploy. What was this? Inbound change set. It takes time. The file will not come immediately. It takes some time. It takes some time. We have to wait for it. Yeah. Meanwhile, anyone has any query?
Where do we specify which environment to deploy, like UAT, integration, or production?
Boss, there is no
configuration. I mean,
look at the point. When you are deploying, why are you deploying? Why are you deploying? To which environment we have to deploy? It is a requirement, right? There is no global definition for this. Now you have done your functionality in one sandbox. You want to merge in another sandbox, move to that sandbox. Now you want to push it to the production, So to which sandbox you have to give, what is the naming terminology is completely your arc. I may keep ABC sandbox, you may keep UAT sandbox. So it is your company terminology and how you push. The format is this. To which sandbox you have to push, what is the name of the sandbox, it's all your company requirement. Okay, the namings will be given as per your company requirement. Are you getting my point?
I meant like, see, there was a list, right? Production, UAT, SIT.
See, that's what I'm trying to convey, Baba. These namings are given by me. This is the naming what my company is using. Your company may not be using the same names.
I'm not asking about the names, sir. Those settings. SIT would be point to one environment. Then that URL setting you would be configuring, right?
Why configuring? Nothing is required, boss.
Okay. Yes. How will it know that in this particular environment it should be deployed?
Let me make it clear. Sandboxes are created from where? Production. Are they associated? One organization will have the production associated sandbox. They are automatically interconnected. You need not establish any connection. They are interconnected. You need not establish any connection. They are automatically connected. You simply select the environment and push it. That's all. Now you need not create any authentication procedures, settings. Nothing is required here. Okay, simply log into the sandbox, choose if production say I will allow from the sandbox, automatically that option will be available to you on the sandbox. You need not do any settings here. By default, they are connected. By default, the organization, production, sandboxes are connected by default. By default, they are connected. You need not manually set any settings here. By default, they are connected. Did I do any settings here? Side away went. Somebody mute your mic, come on. Right. What did I do? I went to the sandbox. I simply told upload. They asked which environment. Selected the environment, they pushed. Did I say username, password? Did I give any URL? Nothing is required, right? They're automatically connected. Already they're connected. From where did you create your production sandbox? From production only we created, no. Right? They're already interlinked. They're connected. You need not do anything manually. Only what you are supposed to do is, who is this guy, boss? Mute your system. Right. Right. Okay. Now still the files are not received. Let's wait. It takes some time to upload it.
Sir, one sandbox to another sandbox. How
Anything
do
to
we create
anything can be
another?
done, boss. See, same question we are pushing in 1,000 times, boss. I told we can deploy from any environment to any environment. Right now, what did I push? What is the environment? UAT test. What is this sandbox? To which environment did I push? QA test. This is sandbox to sandbox only. I pushed. Now when I told upload, it has asked me what? When I told upload, it has asked me all environments. What was that? Do you want to push it to production or what are these two? Only one production will be there. One production, many sandbox. Now you want to push it to your sandbox or production, choose it. Whichever the option is given, choose the environment, push it. Are you getting my point? Are you getting my point? Now, when I say upload, it will show you a list of all the environments which are ready to accept the change from you. There will be only one production, multiple sandbox. Now, when I say outbound change set, we can deploy from any sandbox to any sandbox to production. Right? Operation is same. I selected a production, go to production. Selected a QA, go to QA. Are you getting my point? Right? Don't compare this with your Java or .NET or any other check-in checkout process. Probably people are trying to compare with the check-in checkout process. Don't compare with it. This is already interconnected. Simply UI based deployment. It is simply UI based deployment. Outbound change set concept is simply UI based requirement. When I go to sandbox, click, they'll ask you want to deploy to production or sandbox. All the list will be given to you. Whichever you want, you select and say upload. It will go to corresponding environment because they are already connected. It all belongs to one organization only. Internally, they are already connected. I hope I'm clear with this. Clear for everyone? Right. Still, anyone has any query on that?
Yeah. Satish, I have one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a different question. Is that, like, say for example, I have created two developer sandboxes. Okay,
Okay.
like they are not from related to any of the production. Like we have created a student dev org. Same, I've created one more. Is there a way I can actually connect those?
Primary thumb rule: independent sandboxes cannot be created. Every sandbox should be created from the production only. You cannot create independent sandboxes. Okay. Now they are giving this type of option to you in web components and Salesforce DX. But in the regular applications, every sandbox is a copy from production only. This is not independent. Right. Second, now the outbound change set will only work with associated sandbox. I cannot deploy from the Salesforce. Okay, I cannot deploy from HDFC sandbox to Reddy Lab sandbox. It is not possible using change set. Change set will only work with associated. That means company production, that company sandboxes only. You cannot deploy from one sandbox of one organization to another sandbox of another organization. It is not accepted using outbound change set. Outbound change set is limited to only organizational sandbox and production. You can only deploy within the organization only. You cannot deploy outside the organization. I hope you got my point. Primary, every sandbox is a copy of production. Independent sandboxes will not be there. You are supposed to create a sandbox from the production only. You have to log into the production. From the production only you have to create. Second, using the change set concept. Using the change set, I'm not saying every concept. Okay, down the line when you go to Eclipse and other things, we have extension. But using the change set, we can only deploy the code from the associated sandboxes and production, not with the outside the organization. Any sandbox or production within the organization only we can deploy. Right? One production, multiple sandboxes within that circle we can deploy, not outside the circle. Right, boss? Am I clear? Now, let us go to things are received here. Once I received, we got here validate. When you say validate, before you deploy, it is a must that we need to go for validate. There are 4 options what we have. Now, what are these 4 options? Let us see. First one, this is the change set what I created. This is existing production. This is a change set what I created. In the production, already I have some test classes package. Capital package, here we have test class 1, test class 2. And non-packaged, we have test 3, test 4. Now, this is the change set. Change set. When I choose first option, default. When I choose default, what is the option we have chosen? Default. Change set. Change set does not contain Apex code. If the change set does not contain the Apex code, if I choose the default, if I choose the option called default, and change set does not contain any Apex code, then what happened? No test class from the production. If change set does not contain any Apex code, when I deploy, no test classes from the production will be executed. Right. Second, I have chosen again default only. What is the option I have chosen? Default. Let me give you the diagram representation. I am deploying. Option I have selected is default. Managed package. We have test 1, test 2. Regular test classes, test 3. Change set. No Apex code. If there is no Apex code, which test classes will run? No test class will run. No test classes. Without running any test class only, code is going to be deployed. Second option we have, it has Apex code. The change set contain Apex code. Option what I chosen is default. Then what will happen? All the local test classes will run. So test 3, test. These test classes on the production will run. This is a production. In the production, which test classes will run? All the local test classes which are not in the package will run. Suppose I have chosen this. Then I have chosen the next option. Run local test. Then what happened? Test 3. Even though change set does not contain any Apex code, even though the change set doesn't contain any Apex code, all the local test classes will run. If I choose this, it has Apex code. So irrespective of whether change set has an Apex code or not, if I say run local test class, all the local test classes will run. The next one. What is the option I have? Run all tests. When I say run all tests, then all the test classes will run. This is what you want. Run all the test classes. test 1, test 2, test 3, test 4. So this is a specific here. So irrespective of whether the change set contain any apex code or not, irrespective of whether the change set contain any apex code or not, when you say run all test classes in the manager package, test classes in the non-manager package, everything will run. When I say run local test, so irrespective of whether change set contain apex code or not, all the local test classes will run. When you say default, if the change set contain any apex code, then it will run local test classes. If the change set doesn't contain any apex code, no test classes are executed from the production. Are you getting my point? So from the production, which test classes you have to run? All the local test classes or all the test classes or no test class? Depends upon the option what you have chosen. When I say default, if the change set contain any apex code, all the local test classes of the production will run. If the change set doesn't contain any apex code, no test classes from the production will run. Then run specific. What will happen? Sometimes I wrote a test class. What is the code coverage I got? 100%. I deployed it. When I say run all local test classes, then when my code is running with, when my test classes are running with, rest of the test classes in the production, it is giving a code coverage issue. I wrote in the sandbox, I got 100%. But when I am running this test class with the remaining code in the production, it is giving a code coverage issue. 35% code coverage has come. Now, if it is less than 100, I can increase it. But already in the sandbox, what is the code coverage? 100%. If it is already 100%, I cannot increase. But when you are running this test class with the remaining test classes in the production, it is giving a code coverage of 35%. During that time, we will say, don't run all the test classes, run only specific test class. Give the name of the class. That time what we do? I will say run specific. Only give the name of the test class which you want to run. So it will not run any other local test classes. Only that particular test class will run, will deploy it. This is very, very, very frequently encountered issue. It is very, very, very frequently encountered issue. Right. It is very frequently encountered issue. Now let us see. Default, validate. Validate, succeeded. Then what should I do? Deploy. Are you clear about it? So from outbound change set, create a outbound change set, upload to the production. In the production, we are going to receive as inbound change set. Once I receive as inbound change set, what I will do? Once I receive as inbound change set, I will upload, okay, I will validate, I will deploy. So we have received outbound change set, okay, upload it to the production. In the production, we receive as inbound change set, validate, then deploy. I hope you are clear with this one. Now, if I am uploading any minor changes, I will go with the, okay, change set. If you want to go with the major releases, I will not go with the change set. Now, we have waited a lot of time to see the files are received in the production. It took a lot of time to upload it. So if you are uploading a major releases, we will not go with this change set. Small minor changes, if you want to do it, I will go with the change set because it's inbuilt. Are you clear about it? But generally people prefer to go with ANT. If the people are using any, if the people are trying to release bigger release, if any bigger releases are there, people generally prefer to deploy using what? ANT tool. What is this ANT tool? How do you deploy using the ANT tool? Let us understand this. The changes are clear for everyone? Everyone has followed the changes?
Uh,
Yeah.
Satish, I have one question.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So you said that run specified class,
Yes.
run specific test class. So that test class should already be available in production. Then only we can run, correct?
No. But
Or
generally,
we can run the test class that we have created in Sandbox.
Sandbox, whatever the test class we are pushing, only that test class will run. Not a production test class.
Okay.
Okay, we generally give the change set test class what you want to run it. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Thank you. Yeah.
Then, so generally, if it's a version based, okay, if any company is releasing like a versions or big releases, they generally people go with what? Ant. So I'll just give basic theoretical information first. If you are going with the Ant, we'll have three files. Build properties, build properties, then build file, build properties, build file, package.xml. So three files are required when you want to deploy the code using Ant. One is build properties, build.xml, package.xml. Now, if you are going with a build.properties file, generally this will contain credentials and URLs of the organization. Credentials and URLs of the organization. Now, username, password, your endpoint URL, and maximum poll. Maximum polls are nothing but number of connections what you can establish. So, username, password, URL, and maximum number of polls what you can create. Let me give you here. Meanwhile, let me log into my account. Look at the file. Now, build.properties file. When you go to build.properties file, what is the username of your organization? I want to connect with dev at the rate of 314.com. I want to take a password. I give username, password, and what is the endpoint URL? Because it's a trial version. Login.salesforce.com, if it is a sandbox, test.salesforce.com, production, login.salesforce.com, or if you enable any domain, then domain name you can give. Then maximum poll, how many connections I can establish? Username, password, and endpoint URL, and max poll. This is a build.properties file. The next one we have package.xml file. What is this package.xml file? From this arg, you want to get the data. First, from sandbox, get all the elements which you want to deploy. Then deploy to production. Now, whatever the elements you want to deploy, first you have to fetch them. So, whatever the elements you want to deploy, we have to fetch them. So, if you want to fetch them, whichever the element you want to fetch, that should be defined in the package.xml file. Package.xml file will contain elements which you want to deploy. Package.xml file will contain elements which you want to deploy. So let me create. I'm creating package.xml file. What is there in the package.xml file? Elements which you want to deploy. Elements which you want to deploy, they will be in package.xml file. Let us see. Now I want to give types. Now here I am fetching members. Star means every. Then name Apex page. Then I'm going for next one. Types. Levels. No, Apex class. This is how we got it. So what was that? We are specifying what all the things you want to retrieve. Now you want to retrieve a particular element, give the name. If you want to retrieve a particular element, then you mention the name. You want to mention the name, and let me give. This is the class. This how. If you want to get only particular elements, mention the name. If you want every element, start. So finally, what is this package.xml? It will tell you what are the elements you want to fetch from the sandbox. First, I want to fetch the elements from the sandbox. Then I want to deploy it to the production. Package.xml file will contain elements which you want to fetch or elements which you want to deploy. The elements which you want to fetch, elements which you want to deploy, they are mentioned in package.xml file. Apex page, Apex class, Apex trigger, custom object, workflow, approval process, field update. That everything is mentioned here. Right. So package.xml file contains what? Elements which you want to deploy or retrieve. Deploy. Then build.xml. What is this build.xml? It will contain targets. Targets are nothing but operations. Operation which will establish a connection between build.properties and package.xml. Now, using those credentials, retrieve these elements. Using this credential, deploy these elements. So, target will tell using the credentials in build.properties, okay, fetch the elements from package.xml. Using the credentials from build.properties, deploy the elements to the package.xml. So, what is the operation you want to perform is mentioned in that build.xml. So, build.xml will contain list of operations what you want to perform. Build.xml will contain list of operations what you want to perform. Am I clear with this? Okay. Then let us go to the build.properties. Now, each one is target. Each one is what? Target. Now I want to retrieve the code. I am creating my target. Now, name of the target. So what is our username? SF dot username. What is this SF dot username? Build out properties there. Whatever the build out properties I gave, that username, that password, that session ID, that server URL, that max port. Whatever we mentioned in the build out properties file, they are connected to this. Then you are retrieving, right? You want to retrieve. Once you retrieve, in which folder you want to store? Tell the name of the folder in which you want to store. Batch 314 folder. Now, which elements you want to retrieve? Elements which are mentioned in the package.xml file. Where is that package.xml file? I kept that package.xml file in batch. Are you getting my point? So, you are only giving what? Name of the folder in which it has to be retrieved. Name of the folder in which package.xml file is there. Are you clear about it? Now, path of the package.xml file and path of the folder where we want to deploy the code, where you want to retrieve the code. So, basically, I want to convey build.xml will connect build.properties and package.xml. This is the basic critical information. First, how to establish this, how to install this ant. You have done very good, but the point here is how to install the ant. How to install the ant, how to run the code from the command line, because ant is going to run from the command line. Now look at the point. First, setup, build, develop, tools, lighting platform and tools. Setup, build, develop, tools, lighting platform, tools and toolkits. Then download and migration tool. Download and migration tool. Download and migration tool. The moment I say download and migration tool, it will give an option. Download the zip. When I download the zip, you're going to get Salesforce and zip file we're going to get. When you download, that zip file will come. So setup, build, develop, tools, okay, and migration tool, download it. This is the first point. Second point, go to Apache Ant. Go to Apache Ant. So whatever the latest version is there, click on it, download. This also will give you a zip file. Already I have downloaded files, I am using them. So what was that? Apache Ant 1.10.1 bit. Download the Apache Ant. Go to Apache Ant, download the latest file. So already I have a latest file which I was using. So 2 zip files are retrieved. Extract the files. When I extract the files, Salesforce and Apache Ant. I am clear with this. First download the zips. Then go to Salesforce and 40.0. What is the file we have? And Salesforce. Copy this jar file. The Salesforce and you have and Salesforce. Copy the jar file. Go to Apache Ant. In this library, paste the jar. And Salesforce jar file should be pasted to the Apache Ant library files. Okay. Once it is pasted, then we are supposed to set the path. Environmental variables we have to set. Now let us see. Go to my computer, properties, advanced system settings, environmental variables. I already have some files. I'll remove it. Now what should I do? Go to C drive, then go to program files. We have Java. In the Java I have JDK. In the JDK, till the bin folder. Till the bin folder, whatever I have taken, it's called Java. right? Similarly, Java home, then I've taken and home. Where is the and home? Go to the folder, deployments, Apache and till here copy it. So without bin folder is a home. Without bin folder is a home. Okay. Then go to this system variables, path, edit. Now let us see. Here we are supposed to give path. With bin, if you give, it's a path. In the path, what should I give? With bin. So look at this. JDK/bin. With the bin, if you give, it's a path. Now go to this Apache. With the bin, whatever we have, it is a path. So what I was supposed to do? Set the path. I hope you are good with this. Home is without bin, path is with bin. Home is without bin, path is with bin. Then go to command line and see whether the installation is properly done or not. Java hyphen and hyphen version. So what happened? Java hyphen version and hyphen version. Yes, the installation is properly set. So what did I do? I downloaded. I took the and Salesforce jar file, then dropped in the library files of Apache and then what I have done here? I went to the right. Girlfriends can danang behave chestru. Right. Now let us see. Now what we are doing? We are going to the and. We are going to the and. Then what I am doing? First, set the path of and home. Set the path of Java home. Set the path. Okay. Set the path for the Java home. Set the path for the and home. Then go to system variables. In the path, set the bin path. Bin path of Java, bin path of and. Then go to command line, verify the version. Then everything is working fine here. Then where is your build file? Go to the location where your build file is there. Where is my build file? My build file is here. Copy the location. I need to go to the location where my build file is there. So change your path to the build location where your build file is there. Then give and batch 314 retrieve code, right? What I gave. What is the name of the target? Name. Then what I give? And followed by what was that? Batch 314 retrieve build failed because of invalid directory specified under retrieve target. Name of the folder batch 315. What is the folder name I gave here? The folder name I gave 315, but here I gave 314. So the build failed. So I give the target name. When I give the target name, again build failed. Not that issue. give and target name. Meanwhile, just you can show the folders which are formed there. Still folders are also not formed. Okay.
Satish, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Is there any way I can encrypt the Apex code in Salesforce?
Encrypt. You have iterative classes, no? You can apply the data in the class, right? Not the class.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
data.
I don't want to. I want to hide it from other developers, or
Yes, we can.
Is that possible?
We can release it as a manager package, unmanaged package. Sorry. We have manager package and unmanaged package. Release the code as a manager package. The content of the code will not be visible. Only the elements will be visible.
Oh, okay.
There are two types of packages. So when you want to deliver the functionality, not the code, we don't want to deliver the functionality. We want to deliver the functionality, but not the code. Then we have to form manager packages. Then you have to form everything as a manager package and give him as a package. They will install the package. Even if you want to make a package, test coverage should be 75%. Then next, no, I want to give along with the code. I have built some functionality. I want to share with all my partners, and they should have accessibility to. They should be able to see my code. Then release it as a unmanaged package. Okay. When my company has developed some functionality, want to share with other companies, there are two options. You want to show the code or don't want to show the code. You want to show the code to the partners who are installing your package. That is an unmanaged package. I will give it. If I don't want to show the code, I have to give it as a managed packages.
Thank you.
Please, I've got one question.
Yes.
Now we have this deployment done through Change.Sense. So what will be the advantage if we do the deployment using Ant?
The processing time is fast. We can find out the working. Any arc to any arc we can deploy. Any arc to any arc we can deploy. Basically,
Okay.
so what was that? Build failed, obtain result from server specified time. But the time limit crossed, so it failed. What should I do? I'll do one thing. Quick. I'll reduce the number of elements there. Maybe some internet issue. Now, what is the advantage? Generally, any companies want to maintain a version controlling. They want to maintain a repositories. Now, Salesforce Developer Console will not give any repositories for you. Salesforce Developer Console will not give any repositories for you. Salesforce Developer Console will not give any version controlling or repository. If any organization want to maintain a version controlling or repositories, then they'll get the code into your local server or local instance or server. Then how do you deploy the code from your server? Now Salesforce Sandbox to directly production, change that we are able to do it. But if you are maintaining a repositories, If your organization want to go for a version controlling, want to maintain a repository, the code is at some other server or code is at your local instance. Then how do you deploy? For that we use Ant. Now the code is coming to my system. My code is coming to my system. Literally, I am getting my code into my system. I'll just reduce some. It's taking more time because of number of. Okay. Again, go back. Let me do one thing. Let me take your organization. I think some password change issues. What is your account? 315, right? Let me give dev at the rate of. The primary thing is I gave IP address restriction to avoid the students from logging into my account. So now it has become an issue for logging. So let me change to the destination. Where was my file? Desktop. My build file is available here. Change the path. Build failed. What was the invalid username, password, security token? Now tell me what is the issue with this. I removed the IP address restriction. Then I was supposed to pass username, password with a security token. I was supposed to pass username, password with a security token, which I don't want to. Then I again run it. Now when I remove the IP address restriction there, now it is not open for everyone. Then I was supposed to pass username, password plus security token. Then what? Request was submitted successfully. Request status pending. Now build successful. Then go back to this. Then I was able to see list of classes. Then I was see list of pages what are retrieved. Now previously, first time the operation failed because of the timeout. Now it has given 3 minutes time, but we couldn't retrieve the code, so it has failed. Second time it has failed because I removed the IP address restriction. The moment I remove the IP address restriction, then what happened? It's open. It's open. Then you are supposed to give username, password plus security token. Then I took my IP address and I told any request coming from this IP address, no need of security token. Then the third time it was started succeeding. First time it failed because of what? Timeout. Are you clear about this? Now what we are doing? Making a target, trying to deploy the things. Making a target, trying to deploy the things. Are you clear about this? People have followed this example? People have followed this example. So what you are supposed to understand? Build. Okay. What you are supposed to understand? What is the purpose of build.properties? What is the purpose of package.xml? What is the purpose of your build file? How the build file is going to connect it? And what is the purpose of target? Okay, we'll do one example tomorrow. Okay, we'll finish for now. We'll do one more example tomorrow, and then we'll see how to go with the Eclipse. Okay, I'll explain this and one more time tomorrow. Okay, because it has given some bugs now.